What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling great. Let's get it in. Showing y'all some more proof that we are not the only beings on the planet, and we are not alone. Right? So, not only that, I'm gonna show you again. Every now and then, they get caught slipping in the news. If you've been following me for a long time, again, and I tell you, everything you see, everyone you see on television, most likely not a human being. They make themselves appear to look like a human being. Every now and then, they get caught slipping. You got skin suits walking around. You got skinwalkers walking around. You got shapeshifters walking around. People pretend to be like humans walking around. They walk and talk just like me and you. They blend in just like me and you blend in. Just like, So, I want y'all to look at this Mark Zuckerberg video, man. Tell me, what human being says this kind of stuff? I need y'all to really pay attention, man. I need y'all to really listen. Listen to what he's going to say.
Because you're human, and I was human. But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human.
And I was human, and I am human. Have you ever said that? I don't care how high you are. I don't care how drunk you are. Those words will never come out a normal human being mouth. Listen what he's saying, y'all. What made him say this?
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past.
And of course, the sheeps laugh. The sheeps laugh. They laugh it off. Because they're vibrating at a low they're vibrating at a low state of consciousness. That's why they just laugh it off.
Not that I was not human.
What do you mean by that?
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past.
What do you mean you were referring yourself to the past? I was human, and I am still human. Come on, man.
Not that I was not human. But it is going to bother you because you're human,
and Facebook got billions of followers. It's one of the most popular apps on the planet. You think, again, the earth belongs to the wicked. Facebook is one of the most popular apps on the planet. You think they're going to allow a normal human being to control Facebook? No, my friend. Zuckerberg's not human. I'm trying to tell you, they're not human beings. They appear to look like a human being. This is why he said what he's saying.
And I was human. I am human still.
I am human still. You see how nervous he got? You see how nervous he got? Elon Musk not human too. He's a world. He's a trillionaire, right? They say he's the first trillionaire in the world. Cap, but that's a whole other story. But anyways, Elon Musk is not human. But let's continue, man. This is George Bush's daughter, Jenna Bush. She's going to shapeshift or whatever the fuck going on. You're going to see how her face changed. Almost like some type of liquid hologram or some sort. But let's set the clip play. I'm telling you, They're showing you things that's not there, but let's go.
Yes.
How do you feel? Are there any surprises for you in this whole thing that you're doing?
No, I mean, it's been really great. I'm traveling to different high schools throughout the United States and talking
You see how she's slowly changing?
About Anna
You see how she's slowly changing?
and the other kids I met.
Look. Y'all see this, right? Look. She is changing. Everything in the background is clear, ladies and gentlemen. Everything in the background is fine, except her face. This is some kind of hologram technology that these people are using. This is right, and she's being, and they slipping with this one. Let's continue.
Inspiring.
And not unpleasant. I mean,
But we'll change all.
And I want you guys to notice something. Pay attention to something. I want you guys to pay attention to something, right? I want you to pay attention. Each time she's changing, the reporter is going to use the word change. Each time she's changing, they go right back to the reporters. Pay attention.
no, we're not going to change that.
You see that?
Change it, please.
We will not.
She obviously hasn't seen the show. People have been nice, and they're not attacking your dad or his policies to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody realizes that this is about Anna's story and what I've learned in Latin America.
Yeah, now,
What did you learn?
Well, I met with my job. I worked for UNICEF, which is an amazing organization that works in over 100
Shifting again.
My job was to meet with teenagers who were living
See
in
how she?
exclusion, who were
Y'all
living
see this? What the fuck is that? But let's continue.
in extreme poverty or living with HIV and write their stories, listen to their stories and write.
Mm-hmm. What is that, folks? I'm gonna zoom in real quick. And again, remember when I say every time she changes, they're going to use the word change. It's like a code, letting her know, hey, you're changing. Your face is changing. The liquid technology is fucking up right now. But let's continue.
Them for UNICEF. And so, I mean, I obviously learned so much from these kids. I learned from Anna in particular, who has lived an extremely difficult life. I learned to live each day to its fullest.
Excuse me, Johnny. There's a word you used earlier in the interview about exclusion. Can you explain what that is?
Yes. Well, a lot of the kids I met, I mean, exclusion is a broad term, obviously, but the kids I met were living in extreme poverty. They didn't have access to medical care or education, schooling. They were living with HIV, and so they were living outside of society's embrace.
I think doing any kind of missionary work, I think really changes a person.
You see that?
And you and your sister had a
It really changes a person.
little bit, I mean, you guys weren't Paris Hilton, but you had a little bit of a reputation as party girls. Do you think this changed you?
Well, no, I mean, I think people had that image of us because they didn't know really what we were up to because we wanted to keep private. But of course, you know, so it didn't change my personality necessarily. But I taught for 2 years after the University of Texas after graduating, and then went on to Latin America. And you know, of course, I've grown up. It's been 7 years since people had that image of me. But yeah, I mean, listening to their stories was incredible. And it did
Jenna, when
change
you see this, when you not only listen to their stories, but you get involved and you write about it as well, does it change?
You
how
see that?
look, your thinking?
There's a change. There's a change how it look. I'm telling you, every time she changes, they're letting her, the reporter is letting them know, hey, your face is changing. You need to tighten up.
About how government should run in the United States and elsewhere to help these people. Why should these people be in these situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think the United States government does try to help. I went to Africa this summer with my mom, and I met a lot of people who are getting assistance from the United States government and to help them get the medicine they need to stay healthy. But definitely, and I think the key is education. And for instance, with Anna's mother didn't have the education to know what to do to keep her baby, Anna, safe. So Anna inherited HIV from her mom. But Anna, with education in Latin America, has taken the proper ARVs, and her baby, Beatriz, is most likely HIV negative. So there is a positive light to all of this.
Does it ever make you feel like you, not just you in particular, but you are too privileged in this world?
Well, I know I'm very fortunate, and I have, but I think that we can all give back in some ways, and I hope that I'm doing that by teaching and by writing this book.
I know you and your mom are writing a book together too, but I want to ask you a question about your dad. How did he react when you said, "I'm getting married"?
Well, Henry told him first. My fiance asked him first if it was okay for him to ask me, and
So
then
when he goes to the president and officially asks for your hand in marriage, that's got to be
her dad.
I mean, I know he had worked for your dad and for the party, but still, that's got to be intimidating.
No, well, he hasn't worked for my dad in a long time, but I think he would do that to anybody who was married. Just
And do any dads really say no anymore? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if my dad would have said no.
Yeah, it's a nice thing
anyway.
because you're in love and he wants you to be happy.
Did he get down on his knee when he spoke to the president?
Hey, Jenna, you once went skydiving with my sister. I have to tell you a funny story.
I what?
You once went skydiving, I think,
Oh,
with my
really?
my sister.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to Paris, California?
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's how they do. But let's continue. The next clip I'm playing is a clip of supposedly Chris Benoit friend and pastor is going through the same thing, just like with George Bush's daughter. I'm telling you, these creatures, they like to be politicians. They like to be in religion, like pastors. They're your rabbis. They're your popes. They like to be in a position of power. They like to be in the news. Their face is going to change just like Jenna Bush face changes. Let's continue.
Close friends told us in an exclusive interview that he talked with the wrestler just before the tragedy and says he was calm and friendly.
Fox 5's Doug Evans is here now with our top story. Doug?
Well, just 3 months ago, Chris and Nancy Benoit were making a decision on where their son Daniel would attend private school. They turned to their close friend James Robison for advice. James introduced them to Reverend George Dillard in Peachtree City. Both men told us today that in their relationships and their friendships and the private counseling sessions, there were no signs of trouble.
The last I saw of her was, hey Nancy, let's keep that 4th of July open. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll give you a call. And waved down to Daniel, said, see you later, buddy. And those are just the last memories I have of those two right there.
James Robison doesn't really know what to do with himself today. He spent so many July 4ths with his close friends Chris and Nancy Benoit, and even his last conversations with the couple were about their...
Dude looked like, the way he walked, it looked like an alien trying to mimic a normal person walk. Now, it could be that he got into a car accident, he might walk funny or something like that. Maybe. But I doubt it. But let's continue.
Plans for today.
He said, I'm heading out on the road. I'll be back and talk to you when I get back in town. And I analyzed that conversation over and over, and there was nothing strange. Nothing peculiar about it. It was just the typical conversation we would have.
We talked with James Robison and Pastor George Dillard at the Peachtree City Christian Church, where Nancy had been attending services for the last 3 months with her son Daniel, and where Reverend Dillard had been counseling the couple. Not marriage counseling, he says, but spiritual guidance.
As a pastor, you can tell when somebody's interested and when they're not. And Nancy had that look in her eyes that every word, she was hanging on, and she was listening, and she had questions.
You see how his face is changing? You see that? Just like with Jenna Bush. Just like with Jenna Bush.
And
you see, look at his face. Look. You see that?
That James introduced.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all, come on, man. Everything in the background is okay except for his face. Let's continue.
To them.
Both men are at a loss and say in their friendships and deep personal conversations, there were no clues, no warnings of the turmoil to come.
It's not the Chris that I loved. It's not that same person. Something happened. I don't know. And I don't know that anyone will ever know the truth. just something a friend of mine for almost 2 years could not have done.
Both men say the couple were deeply private.
He was a kind, caring person. He loved Nancy and Daniel with all his heart.
And one of the last times Nancy came to the church, she asked Reverend Dillard to pray over a silver cross she had bought for Chris's birthday.
She wanted it to be a perfect gift for Chris because she was so happy about where he was heading in his spiritual life, and the questions that he was asking.
He's changing again. Look how he's slowly changing. Y'all see that?
That he was showing interest in.
They were great parents, and I love Nancy and Daniel and Chris with all my heart, and I'll miss them.
I want y'all to go back real quick.
In spiritual life, and the questions that he was asking, and the things that.
You see that white, I don't know what the fuck that is. You see that white shit right here? You see how his face is changing? Watch how it's gone in a couple of minutes.
That he was showing interest in.
They were great parents.
Boom, you don't even see it no more. What was that white shit that was in? Kind of could see it right here. See?
And I love Nancy and Daniel and Chris with all my heart, and I'll miss them. I'll miss them dearly.
James says there were countless times where Chris met with children in need and signed autographs and bought gifts, and he preferred conversations. There were no clues.
Right? He's saying that's not the Chris that he loved. That's because Chris Benoit didn't do it. I'm trying not to get too off the subject. I already did a whole video on Chris Benoit trying to prove that I don't think Benoit did it. But anyways, yeah, man. Benoit unfortunately sold his soul to the industry. He sold his soul to the pro wrestling industry, and that came with a price. You know what I mean? That, you know, that came with a price. The price was they made him look like he killed his parent. They made it look like he killed his wife and his son, and then himself. And that's the ultimate price he had to pay. He became one of the most successful wrestlers of all time. He won the Royal Rumble 2004. He main evented WrestleMania and won the world title. You see him celebrate with his son. You see that? And that came with a price. The world belongs to who? The wicked. But anyways, y'all be good. Y'all still wear, and I'm out.